Welcome back to True Assassins, the show that takes you deep into the world of contract killers and the dark side of human nature.
Oh, yeah.
I'm Adrian Smith,
And Julia Jones.
and today we're diving into a story that blends the shadowy world of assassins with the chilling realm of the supernatural.
Buckle up, everybody, because this one is a real head-scratcher.
This isn't just your average true crime story.
Yeah.
This is about a hit gone wrong in the most terrifying way imaginable,
We're talking demonic possessions, shadowy conspiracies.
and an ending that will leave you sleeping with the lights on.
Oh, absolutely.
So buckle up because things are about to get dark.
You know, this case really throws into sharp relief how power operates on multiple levels. You have the very real, very calculated world of assassins and political maneuvering. But then you have this undercurrent of something else,
Right.
something potentially supernatural that completely upends the game.
So our story centers on Father Michael, this celebrity exorcist.
Huge crowds, televised events,
All shebang. But
Yeah.
our source describes him as more celebrity than priest.
which immediately raises some red flags, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. And it makes you wonder, was he truly devout or was he playing on people's fears and beliefs for his own gain?
Right.
We have to remember, throughout history, figures like Rasputin have used spirituality as a tool to gain influence and power, even if their methods were questionable.
That's right.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because the assassin in this case,
Let's call him the Shadow.
the shadow is deeply skeptical of anything supernatural.
Yeah.
He sees faith as a weakness, something to be exploited. So he takes the contract to eliminate Father Michael, not because of his religious beliefs, but because of the political influence he holds.
And here's where we see the classic pattern of assassins being used as pawns in larger power struggles.
Yeah.
The Shadow is a tool, a weapon, wielded by someone who wants Father Michael silenced, not for spiritual reasons, but for political gain.
Right.
It speaks to the dark underbelly of power dynamics that have existed for centuries,
So the shadow gets the contract, infiltrates the church.
which he describes as a tomb. Yes, a tomb, and finds Father Michael preparing for an exorcism. But even then, the Shadow sees him as a showman, not a true believer.
And that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Did Father Michael truly believe in the power of exorcism, or was he simply a master manipulator?
Right.
It's fascinating because even if he was faking it, his influence was real.
Of course.
People believed in him, and that belief, that fear, might have been enough to draw something dark to him.
That's a chilling thought.
It is.
So the Shadow carries out the hit.
Yeah.
He eliminates his target. But what happens next is where things take a seriously dark turn.
Okay.
Instead of a clean kill, he describes this guttural cry coming from Father Michael as he dies.
Really?
Something inhuman, and then,
Then the atmosphere itself shifts.
oh,
Our source talks about this palpable change, a feeling of dread and oppression, as if the church itself is reacting to the violence. It's almost as if the act of killing Father Michael has ripped open a hole in reality, unleashing something that should have stayed hidden.
that's when things get really weird. Father Michael's body begins to transform in a way that defies any rational explanation.
Oh.
We're not talking about a normal death here.
Yeah.
His flesh contorts, twisting into these grotesque shapes.
Oh, my goodness.
And his eyes, instead of the peaceful stillness you might expect,
Yeah.
they become these twin pits of infernal yellow.
That is terrifying.
It's this incredibly vivid imagery that taps into our primal fear of the unknown,
Absolutely.
of something monstrous lurking beneath the surface of our reality.
Right.
And for the Shadow, a man who's built his entire career on logic and control, this is a complete and utter shock.
Of course.
He's facing something he cannot comprehend, let alone control.
He can't.
And the thing wearing Father Michael's skin taunts him, saying,
Oh, no.
"You think to silence a voice, you have merely given us another..."
It's like something out of a horror movie.
It's like something out of a horror movie.
It's a complete reversal of power.
Wow.
The shadow who thought he was the puppet master suddenly finds himself the puppet manipulated by a force he never believed existed. Talk about backfiring.
Yeah.
The very skepticism that defined him, that made him so effective as an assassin, has now become his undoing.
And his nightmare is only just beginning. Shadowy tendrils lash out from Father Michael's contorted form,
Oh.
causing not just physical pain, but this searing agony that attacks his very soul.
Wow.
It's not just about survival. Now it's a battle for his very being.
And this is where we really start to see the psychological impact of facing the unknown.
Right.
The Shadow's training, his entire life dedicated to mastering the shadows, is completely useless against this supernatural force. He's literally confronting his worst nightmare, and it's breaking him.
He tries to fight back, but his bullets pass harmlessly through the demonic form.
Oh, wow.
The laughter of the possessed Father Michael echoes around him, mocking, triumphant.
Can you imagine the terror?
I can't even imagine.
It's a stark reminder that there are things in this world that defy logic and reason.
Absolute.
The Shadow's arrogance, his dismissal of the supernatural, has blinded him to the very real danger he's unleashed.
That's right.
He thought he was in control, but he was playing with forces he didn't understand, and now he's paying the price.
And here's the final terrifying twist. The commotion is drawing a crowd.
No.
People are coming to see what's happened, and the Shadow knows what they're going to find.
What's that?
Not a murdered priest, but his killer transformed into something monstrous.
The very proof of the demonic power he'd mocked.
It's a chilling thought and a perfect place to pause our story.
It is.
But we'll be right back with part 2, so don't go anywhere.
We'll be right back. Welcome back to True Assassins.
Before the break, we left our skeptical hitman, the Shadow, facing a terrifying truth.
Uh-oh.
The supernatural is real.
Yeah.
And it's about to make him its star attraction.
You know what's so unsettling about this? The Shadow is aware of what's happening to him.
Right.
He spent his life denying the existence of evil, and now he's becoming the poster child for it.
The source describes his final moments with this chilling line. The last thought before the darkness claimed me wasn't of my impending doom, but the terrifying irony. In my arrogance, I had become the ultimate proof of the power of demons, the embodiment of a nightmare made flesh.
Wow, that's heavy stuff.
It really makes you think.
It really makes you think about the nature of belief and the limits of human understanding.
Yeah.
What does it say about us if even those who dedicate their lives to denying the existence of evil can become its victims?
It definitely makes you question your own assumptions.
For sure.
What if our skepticism blinds us to dangers we simply don't want to acknowledge?
Right.
Like, are we ignoring real threats just because they make us uncomfortable?
Yeah, and the story doesn't give us easy answers.
No, it doesn't.
It leaves us with more questions than solutions.
It does.
Was Father Michael a genuine exorcist, or was he a charlatan whose death accidentally unleashed a demonic force?
Right.
Or was the demonic presence always there, waiting for the right moment to reveal itself?
The source describes Father Michael as more of a showman than a priest,
Right.
which definitely casts doubt on his true beliefs.
Right.
But even if his exorcisms were staged, his influence was real.
Yeah.
People believed in him. And that belief, that fear could have been enough to draw something dark to him.
Exactly. And that brings up a fascinating question. Can belief itself, regardless of its object, create a kind of spiritual resonance that attracts forces beyond our control?
Whoa.
It's a chilling thought, isn't it?
It's like the old saying, be careful what you wish for. You might just get it. Only in this case, it's be careful what you deny. You might just become it.
Ooh, I like that.
Think about the implications for the crowd gathering outside the church.
Yeah.
They're coming to see a spectacle, a demonstration of faith.
Right.
Instead, they're about to witness something truly horrific, something that will likely shatter their beliefs and leave them with nightmares for the rest of their lives.
Oh, yeah.
The Shadow, in his final moments, becomes a cautionary tale, a warning against hubris, against the danger of underestimating the power of forces beyond our understanding.
His transformation from a skeptical assassin to a spectacle of evil raises some profound questions.
It does.
About the nature of good and evil belief and denial, and the limits of human control in a world where unseen forces might be at play.
This is what makes this story so compelling.
It
blends true crime with the supernatural, forcing us to confront our own beliefs and the potential consequences of dismissing the unknown.
Absolutely. It's a reminder that sometimes the most terrifying monsters are the ones we create ourselves through our denial, our arrogance, and our unwillingness to accept that there might be more to the world than meets the eye.
We're back with the final part of our deep dive into this chilling story of the Shadow and Father Michael.
Yeah.
A tale that started with a cold-blooded assassination and took us right to the edge of the abyss.
To the edge.
Blurring the lines between reality and nightmare.
It's crazy.
And it leaves us grappling with some unsettling questions. What happens to those who witness the unexplainable?
Right.
How do you reconcile faith and reason when confronted with proof that defies logic?
It makes you think about that crowd gathering outside the church.
I know.
What did they see? What did they believe?
Right.
Did they see the Shadow as a monster? Or did they see a man possessed a victim of forces beyond his control?
It's a question that could haunt you.
Definitely.
Imagine being one of those people drawn by curiosity or concern, only to find yourself face to face with something that shatters your understanding of the world.
I know.
It makes you question everything you thought you knew.
It makes you question everything.
This story really underscores the idea that we often fear what we don't understand.
Yeah.
And in our attempt to control and define the world around us,
Right.
we might actually be making ourselves more vulnerable to the things that truly terrify us.
Exactly. It's a reminder that there are limits to our knowledge.
Yeah.
That there are mysteries in this world that may never be fully explained.
Of course.
And maybe that's okay. Maybe a little bit of mystery is what keeps us humble, keeps us searching, keeps us open to the possibility that there's more to life than we can currently comprehend.
This episode has been a wild ride full of twists and turns and some genuinely creepy moments.
I know, right?
But it's also been a thought-provoking exploration of the human condition, our relationship with faith and doubt, and the consequences of our actions in a world where the lines between good and evil are not always clear.
It reminds us that we are all, in a sense, walking a tightrope between the known and the unknown.
The known and the unknown.
And sometimes the most dangerous step is the one we take with absolute certainty.
So, dear listeners, as you go about your day, perhaps take a moment to consider the shadows around you.
Woo!
Not with fear, but with a sense of wonder and a healthy dose of respect for the things we might never fully understand.
Because sometimes the most important truths are the ones that hide just beyond the reach of our logic and reason.
And that's it for this episode of True Assassins.
See you next time.
Don't forget to rate, follow, and share this episode with your friends if you enjoyed it.
Please do.
Until next time, stay curious, stay skeptical, and sleep with the lights on.
Good night.